up, my friend? How are you?
Hey, how you been? I'm doing all right.
Man, I'm super stoked to have you on board for Crypto Pharaoh's 1 year anniversary. We got you published NFT in the house. I already put a giveaway up for 2 of those Genesis library passes. We're stoked to give out. We have a crowd here waiting for it. So let's just get right into it. I just want to give you a minute to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what Published NFT is, and then we'll dive even deeper.
Okay, I'm CEO of Published NFT. What we're doing with eBooks is bringing eBooks to the Web3 instead of Web2. We're bringing eBooks to the blockchain. Main reason because eBooks only can be bought and just used inside of an application. They're not really owned, so you can't buy, sell, and trade them. That's our first goal is basically bringing eBooks to the blockchain. And we have a lot of different reward systems, read to earn. Library Pass gives you access to all ebooks that'll ever be released publicly, airdrops, many different things in the metaverse. There's a lot of different things that we're doing with ebooks, basically bringing them to the blockchain. Just buy, sell, and trade alone is one of the main reasons, and then connecting authors with their readers, being able to know who has the books, being able to give back things, and creating a better way for publishing all the way around.
That's super rad. I genuinely haven't seen anything like your project, especially on Flow, but I haven't really seen much of like publishing on chain. And I'm curious a little bit about kind of the background of like why did you get into this as a CEO? Are you an author? Are you just like passionate about
Well,
writing and stuff like that, or how did that work?
I'm very passionate about blockchain. I started a long time ago, around like I'd say a little bit before 2017, maybe 2016, but 2017 I started getting more serious about it, and I started learning about things like the metaverse with Decentraland and things like that. And I ended up getting into the first land sale there and accumulating a bunch of land, and we ended up building casinos and working with James Ashton in Vegas City District in Decentraland. We ended up selling casinos and things that we were building in the metaverse. So from there, I was in the Top Shot and things like that, and I was following Roham and Pepper and everything for a long time, but I didn't know that they released their blockchain and they dropped the NBA Top Shot. And so I started getting into NBA Top Shot really early on, and then everything blew up, and I was all about the Flows blockchain from just everything that the capabilities of the Flow blockchain and how it was more based on NFTs and projects like that, so that you can create real projects and things on the blockchain that actually have real use case, rather than there's a lot of different ways to connect NFTs to things, rather if it's art, uh, physical assets, any kind of thing. So once I saw that opening, um, me and my team, we decided to build the book program on the blockchain, and we wanted to bring ebooks to Web3. And at that point, we got into magazine companies, comics, ebooks, pretty much anything that's in the print, not just ebooks. It's basically a print publishing company.
So I'm curious, obviously, like with books in general, like, it's so vast. I mean, the selection of material is,
Yeah.
insurmountable. I'm curious in the direction as learning more about your project, I'm realizing that you could kind of dive into the realm of like textbooks and education. Can you touch on that a little bit?
As textbooks, education, sky's the limit when it comes to books and releasing. Yeah, things with education in schools and ways to create books on the blockchain and give universities passes to actually give their users, which would be students, access to use their books or resell them or trade them or use them to give to other students to use. Um, you know, things aren't limited when like the ebook market is basically stagnated because of where we are today. It can't really move forward because of the fact that you're not really owning anything. You're buying digital assets and you're owning them on an app like iBooks. You can't really do anything with it after you read it. It's basically just stuck in your wallet or stuck in your account forever. So actually buy a book and have ownership of it is more like you're buying a physical book because you can give it to a friend, you can gift it, you can sell it, you can trade it. There's even ways to rent them out to create a passive income. So if you collect books, you can rent them out to create a passive income like checking out like a library or owning your own bookstore basically. But to do that,
That's
there's different things. Like you would have to have at least 100 books to be considered a librarian, or own a library pass, which and you're already a librarian and you can automatically rent books out for passive income.
wow, I was actually just about to ask that. So you could either own 100 books to become a librarian or you own one of these library passes. Now that's like really next level stuff. Like
Yeah.
so
And that's
you're
just
talking
one of the
about kind of
utilities. I mean, there's a lot of
yeah, like
utilities and there'll be much more.
that sounds really cool because obviously a popular like thing on Flow would be like floaty, right? With the top shot moments
Yep.
of, lending out and borrowing and stuff like that for challenges. I love this concept of becoming a librarian of owning books. Now, are you directly like working with the authors or publishing? Or how exactly does it work to onboard someone into publish an NFT?
Yes. Well, indie authors can just sign up and they can sign up and fill out a form to get published and things like that. And we have partnered with corporations and magazine companies and stuff that'll have repetitive issues released. So there's different ways and different contracts and different partnerships that we have with different people, different companies, even comic book companies, where we can actually help you create your stories and put them together to actually mint them on the blockchain and do a release of your book or your comic or your magazine or recipes or whatever uh, kind of scripture you may have.
Super rad. We've had these kind of talks before. I think there's a lot of just artistic ability in general. We've had these common denominator topics throughout the entire party so far of the blockchain allowing people to express themselves and allowing people to support that expression. So your
Yeah,
platform
and
basically allows like amateur authors to be able
yeah,
to, put their art on your platform and allow people to support that.
yes, correct. We want to help not just big authors, but smaller authors too, be able to express their work and get it out there to the public and around the world, and let people, see their work and experience what there's because there's different ways too. Also, with our ebooks, there's ways to experience the metaverse inside of the ebook where you can do read to earn projects and things that we have where you would read the book and you would collect NFTs to get to the next chapter through like let's say a metaverse in a long corridor, and to get to the end you need to actually know information in a read to earn system to get to that destination to collect your rewards. And there's like just how you said, for people to express themselves, it'll be a very much stronger way to connect the artist to the actual, I mean, connect the author to the actual reader. And then when you have all these platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these people integrating blockchain and different ways to express yourself, even on profiles, not just PFP collections, but also the fact that you can see, hey, what does this guy owns as a gamer, or what does he own? You can see the ebooks and stuff that they want you to publicly know that they own. So, like, if you go to someone's home, you walk past their bookshelf and you see it, and you say, hey, you look at these books and you think, okay, this is that kind of person. You'd get a kind of feel of who that person is by the books that they have on their bookshelf at home. The same thing is that when you're visiting someone's profile, you'll get to know them just a little bit better by seeing the kind of books maybe they read or collect, or if they're not just a collector aiming to create a bookstore or something like that, and they're actually a fan reader and they're actually reading. And also the other
Do you
thing about what we were trying to do with NFTs, everything that we released, we wanted to have an actual use case, just like the library pass has any utility. Everything that you're getting for a reason. So when you get a book, you're basically getting it to read, not to just collect and try to get something rare. Where it's more of like, think of an iBook or Kindle type of situation.
Do you track, like is there a way to track, like, statistics of how many, like, views or, like, times it's been read or anything like that?
There's ways to track all that stuff with different coding and stuff for. with development, yes. We will have different things on when you're able to burn books and you're able to donate and you're also able to stake books to collect reward, which will be something called page token in the future. And that reward system will have something to do with like how many books are burned on the chain, how many are not burned, how many. It'll have a statistic and schematics for you to for you to read and try to figure out what's more rare than others and things like that. It's more in the factor of like a number one Spider-Man. Like if you had a comic book, number one Spider-Man issue one, edition number one. That's what will become rare. Uh, Things become collectibles when we release things. Things might be collectible. Let's say if like a J.K. Rowling or something came and wanted to do Harry Potter with us or something, that's a different story than if we're releasing someone that you don't know at all. There's different ways to release things with multiple covers and making things rarer than others, or doing auctions, or less book mints, or there's many different type of ways to actually even release a book also.
Yeah, that's I I've never really I like that GIF in there, JT. I never thought I would tell my mom that I would host a book burning party, but I might have to do that in the near future. I
Yeah.
think that is so unique and cool. Yeah, deepfakes took the words right out of my mouth. Unique NFT. That's incredible. So basically, I was curious a little bit about the edition number. So when I come to apply to list my book or my piece of art, how does the edition number get selected?
The edition number gets selected when you come to buy, or what was it when you come to actually
Well,
buy?
like if I had a book and I was wanting to list on there,
Uh,
how would I decide, or who decides like how many editions there are, or how many versions there are?
we would go over it with the author or with the company on what we should do and what we think is a good idea to go with. I mean, at the end of the day, we do have the control over the mints and things like that. But we pretty much agree with come to an agreement with the author on what we need to release and the price and everything. That's pretty simple. It's pretty simple behavior, just going back and forth with the author and figuring out what's fair and everything like that for the public when we actually are releasing their book. We're not like trying to do any artwork or anything like that where we're trying to sell a book for $200. If it's $15, then it's just $15 book. The same prices that you would see on Amazon is the same prices that you would see with us.
Now, how much of an inspiration was, like, some of the, or what did you use to kinda, like, make this, like, from inspiration? Like, was it, like, Amazon or, like, Kindle and stuff like that? What are some of the
Um,
parts you kinda took from those?
I mean, I feel like it was just me and my partners being so much in the blockchain for so long and doing so many things, because I started off mining, and then I went into day trading, swing trading, uh, uh, all type of trading, all the way down to even building, like I said, in the metaverse and everything. So it got down to the point where we had ideas for different companies and things that we wanted to get into, and publishing was one of them. And it just, when I saw the Flow blockchain and I read everything about it and um, all of its functions and everything, I mean, my mind was blown with the blockchain itself and the capabilities. And I immediately wanted to go back to that project with eBooks that we were originally talking about at one point. And when I was searching for it online, it seemed like no one in the world was focused on that. It was literally just artwork and PFP projects and apes and things like that. So I'm like, it's regardless of anything, that's what's going to happen is ebooks are going to come to the blockchain regardless, because it's already something that's digital. It's already something that's being marketed and used every day, except there's kind of no point to it. You just buy a book and you don't even own it. You just barely read it and it's stuck there. It makes no sense. Like, I can't even send it to a friend just to say, hey, read this book, or I can't resell it, or I can't do anything with it. So when you release ebooks, I want to make them more of a physical feel, so that if you do have something, maybe you're stuck in the woods or something, and you need, some sort of special uh, wilderness book or something like that, and someone could send it to you rather than you have to buy everything that you already have bought in before. You're not really owning it.
No, that's that's so cool, man. And it's actually crazy that we talk about this because we're just talking about AI and artificial intelligence having the ability to lie and how we kind of tie that in with Google because we're so used to as a society just Googling the answer to something. But there's and I'm just gonna get deep here for a second with you, Mike, is there's this documentary called Inside and it talks about intuition and there's a quote in there that I love to use, and it's that we come from wisdom, we went to knowledge, and now we're in the age of information. And it's becoming that we're so overwhelmed with information, we don't know what's true, we don't know what we need, and we need to back up into knowledge and wisdom more. And I feel like that's what books bring to us. I feel like that's where real people who are authoring stuff is so important. And it's not just things on the internet. So,
Yeah.
what you just brought up, the point of, knowing how to do a skill or
Yes.
something. I think that that's so
Books
important
build.
in education to be able to use books.
Yeah, I feel like books build everything, and there's been so many books hunted down and erased from the earth that we don't even know a lot of the history that actually exists and things like that. So books act, everything, even our conversation right now it might be written into a story one day that might be turned into a movie, which they'll write another script for and a screenplay and everything else. So books, they rule out everything that we do in society. At the end of the day, it all comes down to writing. It doesn't come down to, it goes to writing, then the pictures. We started off doodling, and now it's time to start writing and learning. The NFTs will just get more advanced over time and more use cases and more abilities for things they can do on different platforms. So, they start off this way and they'll end up deep in the metaverse in the future.
Now, are you messing around with I've seen some people do like 3D kind of concepts of books or anything. Are you doing that or exploring that at all? Or is this just kind of like just text on screen?
Yes, these ebooks will be accessible in the metaverse in the future. 3D style, different ways. We plan to do different things like that. Uh, we're not 100% sure on which metaverse we'll deploy our castle in. We have a museum. Our museum basically shows rare NFTs off throughout the museum. You have a showroom as a user. You'll be able to show off your NFTs, have bookshelves, things like that. Uh, and inside of that metaverse, yes, these ebooks will be accessible and things like that in the future. And, more things expand and more cross chaining happens and more metaverse cross chaining and things like that.
Using the M word in here will get you some brownie points with who's saying this is a museum friendly project, Crypto Pharaoh. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's really cool.
Okay, yeah, it's a museum. Well, we have a museum, it is basically a giant library, a castle, but it's a museum that will have artifacts inside of it. But we'll have an AI assistant, basically assisting you through the library and things like sort of like an Alexa in the future. But basically, she thinks more about books in that manner and stuff like that.
Wow, that's I it's these kind of conversations blow my mind because I can only envision it, right? And you're like thinking ahead and you're like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Having that AI almost like librarian assistance, right?
Uh,
That's wild to me.
yeah, the library assistant, because you'll need things like that. Her name is Cindy Assistant. You'll need things like that to navigate the libraries in the future. When you're looking for a search engine, it won't be like writing into a browser. It'll be more like you're talking to an avatar. Avatar connection, AI.
Now, I'm curious when you talk about like this metaverse, right? Now, and you're not sure which one you're building on. I understand because it went from like one
Yeah.
metaverse to like 5,000
Yeah,
metaverses.
I
So
mean,
I totally understand that.
yeah, I mean, we know a lot about metaverses and stuff. We have, like I said, we built casinos and sold them to large companies inside of Decentraland and things like that before the word metaverse was even popular. So um, the castle that we built it in Unreal 5. So it can be deployed. There's different metaverses that support that, but we don't like I said, we don't know where we're gonna go. Yeah, we're waiting for certain things and different companies to see where they go with their technology, and then we'll decide where we go from there. When metaverse becomes more relevant, I mean, we're ready to go, but at the same time, we're focused more on just getting the fact that ebooks are buy, sell, and tradable at this point, and blockchain is now integrated to that system. So we're trying to first move on that, and then casually build into the metaverse as we go along. As more companies also develop more tools, there's more tools that are needed.
So I'm going to shift it a little bit to something that is kind of a pain point for a lot of people in the world, I believe, is textbooks, right? And so I think one of the biggest issues that I have with them was in college, right? A lot of people went through this that went to college, or eh, you buy the textbook, you go to resell it, and they give you 10 to 15% of the value for it. And it pissed me off, man. It took a lot of money from my
Yeah.
pockets. Do you see this as a way of, like,
Okay.
keeping that
So ways that
value together?
we have ways that we're planning to do things like that in the future with universities and things. Let's say so, like um, and the fact that if a university they can create their own pass for their university just by having their account with us, and that pass gives them API access through how many students they would have running. The student would just pay a small fee to have access to the library of that university, but the student would have to be a user of that university. Understand? Like they'll be on our channel page with that university, but the student will sign in through the university by having that access pass as an NFT to sign into that page for that university. They would need access as a student. They would have a special NFT. Then they wouldn't have to
That's
constantly,
really interesting.
you know, do that thing with the books. And if they did want to buy the books, if they wanted to keep them for whatever reason, or you pass them down through friends or other students, that's also capable. If I want to hand you a book in real life, I can do that. If you walk away with that book, I no longer have that. So the same thing with our system, and we're also doing that with like letters and email type of system way where you can send personal letters to people. Because if I send you an NFT as a letter, you're the only one that has it. If you burn it, if you keep it, if whatever you do with it is your letter. Just like in physical world, if I send you something, you have it. Everything has to have utility and reason to be made. And there's a lot of things that we're doing, but some stuff I probably shouldn't even say. So
Well, I'm a alpha hunter, so I you gotta be careful with me, right?
yeah, yeah. We're definitely
Hey, this is really interesting stuff. I think I'm curious, like, on a personal level, like, as obviously as a company as well, but, like, is it difficult to kinda explain this? Because obviously books are such a world like, easy, like, kinda common denominator we all have as books and throughout the history of time. So to kind of place the books on the blockchain and explain to people how that works, one, it's gotta be difficult, but two, it brings those normies to the blockchain, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely does. People are starting to understand Web3 a little bit more than blockchain. They're starting to realize that NFT is not a crypto, a coin. I mean, they have to realize the blockchain is something that people are creating things on top of. Like NFTs are new to the world. I mean, I've been buying them since 2017, but there's different things. There's crypto, there's NFTs, there's DeFi, there's other different and a lot of other different networks that'll come out on the blockchain. So the way that we move in video gaming and other networks and stuff is not owning anything, but we have all these stores and marketplaces and all these shops to do these things and of stuff that are just moving on the internet. That's not, with the blockchain, it basically makes that kind of system extinct, because now you're giving real ownership and assets to people that are playing video games that can trade them on OpenSea 24/7. And if the game stopped to exist, now I would still have my Mario token or my Sonic rings if that was the case when I was a kid. But we don't have any of those assets that we got in the video games because they weren't on the blockchain. It's just a new technology coming into the world, and we'll all be using it in some sort of way, shape, or form. And I feel like ebooks are one of the biggest ways, shapes, or forms for the actual ebook market to even expand. It's been stagnated for many years. It has no reason to grow. The uh, hard book copies still make more than ebooks. It's still a bigger network. It's still everything is still
Well,
stagnated because of the technology.
it's actually interesting because I wanted to segue into that. Of a lot of these NFT projects that we chat with obviously have some in real life utility and stuff like that. Have you guys talked a little bit about maybe like having physical copies to
Oh
send or
yes,
anything like that? Is that in the works?
yes. A lot of certain books will have physical copies able to redeem uh, in real life, or you can definitely they will definitely have a lot of different projects that will release real copies. Also, yes. It's
That's
not yeah it's not
really cool.
always
Now,
only digital. So yes, a lot of times you can get the real copy, the digital copy, things like that. It depends on what the author actually wants to do or the company wants to do. It's mainly their decision.
that's really cool. Now, do you have like deals with like printing companies or anything like that?
We don't have any deals with printing companies. If we do want things printed, we can get them printed by companies. I mean, we don't have any partnerships directly where they're printing them for us for some special price or anything. I mean, but we can print books out, yes, through corporations. And then
Wow,
even some of the
I see.
companies that we talk to and some of the authors and stuff, there's people that are already connected in those ways for the physical.
I genuinely like I think that there's so many ways you could go with this. Like it's insane.
Yes.
I I mean we're talking magazines, we're talking educational books, like textbooks, we're talking personal books. I have a sincere selfish interest in publishing my poems for strangers book with you. And I plan to do that. So
Yes, definitely.
I'm just, I'm blown away by it. Genuinely, so I had a couple more questions for you. Like obviously you've been around for a while. You guys have been around for a while, and you've learned not only just in the ecosystem, but in obviously in NFTs in general. Can you talk a little bit about like some of the challenges you face as a project, both like on flow and just in NFTs in general?
Yes, well, there's many problems that you'll face. I mean, if you're in development and you're trying to build on a blockchain, and I mean, you're gonna deal with a lot of problems. Um, I mean, Flow is probably the best place I've ever built with because of cadence and things like that. And now we're partners with Dapper Labs, and we have it's an easy payment system and stuff. But to get to that point, to even get approached by Dapper was a long road. I mean, front end, back end, and then there's so many different protocols and tools in the background that you're using, uh, from Alchemy all the way to NFT catalog and different things for third parties and things to connect to your contracts. And and then things pivot very fast. There's technology changing all the time, so you might have to fork the blockchain or something, and there's an update, and then you have to change this and update the main net and the test net and other things like that. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. It's a constant run of work. I mean, flow when you're trying to build something that doesn't exist, definitely. And especially with so much
Right,
new
right.
technology with Flow blockchain is very new. Dapper's even newer, so you could expect. I mean, they're like when NASA when it comes to security of blockchain.
Right.
So it's no joke, and it's
Yeah.
very very secure system, and I love it, and I think it's the best way to go for mainstream project and to do things the right way and the legal way. Actually, to create a real project on the blockchain that actually has. We have endless content that'll be coming out forever. A 30-year plus company that will always have something to give the community, and the authors always have things to do with the community and things like that, and give back. And there'll be so much. We're trying to change the book industry as it exists forever. I mean, just even with connecting the authors and creating the reward systems and all of these things will change how books are looked at forever. Because we don't want the books to
Do
just
you
die away. You know. because
Right, and I think it's such a like a noble cause, right? Like it genuinely is like, it's something that's so important. I couldn't agree more. And I'm just curious, what are some numbers? Give me like an idea. Like how many authors and how many books do you have available right now? And like what's the
um
goal,
I would
obviously?
I would say we have over 100 books that we can release already. 23 countries have already signed up to release and stuff. It's all about legal and figuring out different laws and things between it. There's so much interest in what we have, but a lot of interest is coming from out of the country also. There's a lot of different things that you have to deal with in between. And then also when you're dealing with Dapper, everything is very serious and very, very legal and very real. And it has to be reviewed and checked, and everything has to be reviewed and updated, and it's a process as to how we're doing things, and because we're inventing something that doesn't exist. There's new contracts and there's new things that you have to go over with different companies and things like that. We're dealing with a large company, magazine company right now, where we're going to sign a contract, and you'll see, and there'll be celebrities involved and stuff, and it's just taking so long for contracts to get done because the companies never even have done NFT projects before. So it's
Right.
just a lot. It's just a lot that comes with everything that's happening right now. And there's companies that are very interested and they're changing their platforms and integrating things and doing things right now. And it's just a learning process for each individual person or corporation that everyone's going through right now.
So just to clarify a couple things, right? So you talked about owning 100 books makes you a librarian or owning the Genesis Library Pass. So just to clarify, if I own the Genesis Library Pass and that's like $25 right now on your website, they're still available, yeah?
Yeah.
And if I own one of those, then I'm able to rent out books and that kind of concept. Like that's some of the major utility to that.
Yes, and that utility will become more valuable as more books come out, and then we create a store page and
Right.
things like that. So the more books that come out, the more the pass becomes valuable, the more the utilities become valuable because now you have something to do with them.
I have a good question from SSE. So an author wanted to release on your platform, what are the steps like in this most simplistic form? How do we make that happen?
Step would just be click our link tree or go to our page and just click get published at the top on the header of the page. Just say get published in our link tree or on our main web page. Then you fill out that form and we'll contact you from there and we'll go over the project and what you would like to do and everything else. We would
And you work with the author to set like the price as well, like you said, the mint count as well.
Yes, we would talk about the mint count as well. Author would get 10% royalty on every resale, 65% of the main sale.
65%. That's a chunk. Like comparatively to like a publishing
Oh
company, do
yeah,
you know what like they ask for?
it's like I'm not sure exactly. It's varied between different companies, but it's definitely very low. I'm not gonna say 100% what it's at. They're all different, but it's very
Right.
low.
Yeah, I see this like,
And then there's
publishing
there's no
companies the
like
same.
I mean there's no they can't track it. It's not blockchain, so there's no this is how many books there actually are. There's no number on them. And then when they do, I mean, or there is no resale, so you can't get 10% as time goes on because the lower mints will become collectible automatically. Just how people are with low numbers of things. They're not gonna let those ones go for too cheap. And the author will always get their 10% of resales forever. Rather, if they have 10,000 books or a million books in the future, depending on how many users and that we have on our platform and everything like that, and how many mints we're actually releasing, that's how many books you'll have out constantly moving around the chain. Now, and you can even trade things too, like with um, evaluate market. You can go there. You can trade our ebooks, and then we're with Matrix Market. We'll be with Blockto, all the different marketplaces also. So you can trade the ebooks for Flow or USD on our page. And then, like I said, with Evaluate, you can actually trade the NFT as it is, like trade for trade.
That's so cool, and I like to, like, compare, right, the publishing companies to labels with music. I think it's something everyone can, like, understand and kinda compare to, of this is I've been preaching this for a while, Mike, and it's this is the end of the middleman. This
Yes,
is the
yes.
end of those companies that have been sucking the art from the artists, and I'm just so grateful that you're doing something for the authors out there because
Yeah.
there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of incredible ideas and
Because
intellectual property that we've yet to
we
discover.
don't fully aim to be fully centralized in a way where it's like fully controlled. We like that's why we're building a platform for authors to build, a fan base and build things and collectors to create bookstores and libraries and things like that, and for the authors to be able to create their own passes and things like that, to where you can go to their libraries and things and go through their different content and have access to that stuff. So we will let authors release things like release passes uh and give back to the community and communicate with the community.
Yeah, because I noticed on the library pass you talk about like voting and kind of a DAO concept and stuff. Can you touch on that a little bit?
As we build over time, we'll be doing things in the metaverse and on the platform. And when our app comes out on iOS and Android and things like that, we want to know what the community thinks. And so we have ways to create proposals with cast or create or actually vote on things. But that's another thing you'll need the library pass for to have access to.
I love the idea of a library DAO, man. It's just so fun and next level. I think it's just so cool and obviously I would say you're underrated on Flow. Can you talk a little bit and you can
I
be
mean,
candid. This is
I,
it's your boy Jimbo here. Do you feel like you're kind of
I
underrated on
mean,
Flow?
we're underrated in the reason fact because of things that were changing at the time when we were building. Because when we first released, we were ready to drop ebooks and just go on with it, but we were only on Blockto at the time. And then we got contacted like literally the day that we dropped, went live. Uh, Pepper contacted us, and we had to basically change our whole infrastructure. So then we integrated Lilico, and we went from there and started. We just kept building and building. So we had to basically change everything. So it took more time, and then the market started to drop, and the bear season happened, and so we felt like it was more time to build than to just open our mouths and talk about things. We'd rather build and sign contracts and partner with companies and things like that, and get ready for building it the right way and slow down. And we learned a lot of things, and I'm actually glad we did slow down because the tools that actually emerged during times we were building that we needed weren't available at the time. So we were building in time for things to actually happen right on time. So, I mean, it was a blessing and a curse at the same time.
You know, SSE brings up a good point. I just want to touch on it for a second of like the major like utility or obviously opportunity advantage to minting. One of the books of an author would be like their rookie book, right? Like an author's first book. Is that kind of like something you've talked about a little bit of like
Well,
when someone mints their first or publishes their first book, what that value holds?
anything could be valuable because we don't know what it is. I mean, our goal hopefully is to help an author become a J.K. Rowling or something like that. But you don't know Harry Potter until Harry Potter exists. You know what I mean? Can't like you can't call it. It's the like yeah, that person could come out on our platform and it could be the biggest book in the world and Disney does a movie and everything like that. And I'm sure that book will become one of the most valuable ebooks in the world. But it's all on the world to happen and the world to see, and for those artists that we do bring out and help, hopefully one of them does become to that level and that big and become that popular and collectible in the future.
Man, that is so cool. Well, obviously selfish shill. I am for sure going to be. I'm pounding my chair right now, minting my poems for strangers. I'm gonna be working with you guys. I really do. I love this concept. I think it also gives the average Joe like myself an opportunity to be published. And I think like in today's society, that's very difficult to do. And I think you're giving artists the freedom to, have the ability to be brave and to step outside of that and go for it, like myself. And I'm only speaking for myself, but I just think it's so powerful what you're doing is putting the power into the hands of the author, and I think it's so commendable.
Thanks a lot. We've been working hard, trying hard for about a little over a year. We've been working every day, just building up, getting ready to uh, give people a different experience with these ebooks.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some more library passes. So I'm gonna be giving away three more from you guys. You were generous and gave five out. I'll do three more. I'm gonna do a couple on Twitter and a couple more in here. But I want to talk about if for some unlucky reason someone doesn't win one, but they want one. Can you talk a little bit about? I know they're available.
Oh, oh, hello, hello, hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, maybe Jimbo got kicked out.
Yeah.
What he was asking me was the library passes. Basically, you can get them on our page at publishednft.io. You can get them there. If you don't get one, we will be doing more giveaways on Twitter. So you can follow us on Twitter. We're not that active on Discord right at this moment. We're still building out, and if your guys are looking to get something there, that and we'll be doing giveaways every week, pretty much. But you have to have a pass to be a part of the giveaways to participate. So, you'll go to a page that'll ask you to sign into your Dapper, and then once you sign in, it'll check your wallet for the pass, and then you can get in. Um, and I guess that'll be it, guys. I mean, Jimbo's gone. I can't hear anybody.
Oh, I'm back. That's my
Yeah,
that's
I
my
can
typical.
hear you.
I
That's
tend to have.
happened before. I'll step in.
Am I
Yeah,
back?
you're back.
Back
I
to you,
hear you. I
Jimbo.
hear you.
All right. Yeah. Hussein is on it, man. I appreciate my backup, my
Yeah, I
my
didn't know if
teammate there.
anybody could hear me. I didn't know what was going
I'm just like, no, this is a bad idea. Let's stop
on.
talking about it.
uh,
No,
yeah.
Mike, I genuinely, man, you're an awesome person. This is such a fun project. I stand by my statement that it's underrated, but again, just like the other projects we talked about, Barter Yard Club, Zeeds, you're underrated, but it's not because you're not being noticed. It's because you're working your ass off and you're building a product that people are going to enjoy. And this is what we do in the bearish market. We continue to build and stand strong with the original goal, which was to bring publishing to the blockchain and bring ebooks to the blockchain from Web 2 to Web 3. So again, I commend what you're doing. I want everybody to go support you guys. I'll be pumping out a couple more of these library passes, both in the giveaway. Oh, good question by Magnum Cole is for the publish NFT. What do they need? Just their Blockto address?
Is it for no Dapper address? We're with Dapper now, so everything has
Okay,
to start
Dapper,
with
Dapper.
Dapper, and
So
then you'll be able to withdraw to Blockto and Lilico if you want to hold your assets that way.
super cool. Well, again, man, thank you so much for coming on, Mike. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for donating the five library passes. I'm definitely entering the giveaways
Yeah, we'll have some
myself.
good ones
But
coming
if
up.
I don't win,
Yeah, we'll have some good giveaways
I'm
coming
gonna
out.
go
We're
grab
trying to do
one.
one every week. We'll just have your pass ready, and we'll be doing some giveaways on different blockchains. Also, it won't be just Flow. It'll be some stuff on Ethereum and things like that. So just look out for them.
Rad. Well, I look forward to continuing our relationship, man. And again, super mega alpha for this people in here. Look out for Poems for Strangers. We're definitely gonna be chatting it is just synchronicity at its finest. So,
Yep.
Mike, I appreciate you. Last question: are you guys planning on heading to NFT
Yes,
NYC?
yes, we are. We just have to put more things together. I don't know the exact info yet, so I'll be broadcasting that and announcing that soon, letting everyone know.
Rad. Well, you know the super mega alpha that anyone involved in one of my parties is down. We're gonna be collabing, hopefully a giant event for Flow. So
Yeah, I'll definitely
be
be
in
a
the
part
lookout
of
for me harassing you in your
it.
DMs.
uh,
You're sliding into
yeah.
DMs, all right? But thanks, Mike.
Thanks
I
for having
appreciate it.
me.
Go support them. Go check out sponsor info. It has all the information on it, that you can need. Go to the website, grab yourself a library pass. And again, Mike, appreciate you coming on. Shout out Published NFT. In the meantime, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of a break, and then I'm gonna throw on a special curated list for this party. The music don't stop. The music don't stop. The giveaways don't
Oh,
stop. We're gonna keep having some fun. I know Hussein's always lurking in the background, so I know there's some more crypto pharaohs to be given away as well. So we're really stoked to keep this 1 year anniversary party going. And then just to reconvene, we're gonna do get a music break for about 2 hours. Do some live DJing as well. And then we have our long-awaited Crypto Pharaohs AMA at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So that's in about 2 hours from now, 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm really much so looking forward to learning about what the free mint and all this good stuff Hussein's got coming for us. So stay tuned and definitely keep your eye on the giveaway channel. In the meantime, just enjoy the music. Again, happy anniversary, first birthday, Crypto Pharaohs.
happy anniversary, guys.